Hello everyone and welcome to another video, a short mini Halloween special video in fact. When it comes to which Doctor Who monster is the scariest, you'll often find that when asked about it, people will often give a variety of answers. Some might say the Weeping Angels, some might say the Empty Child, and some might say the Autons, especially the original ones from their very first appearance, Spearhead from Space. But I'm sure you get at least quite a few people saying the Cybermen were the scariest, and to some extent I understand why. After all, think of the very idea behind them. They essentially take plastic surgery just a little bit too far, replacing all their organic organs and body parts with ones made of metal and plastic. The process of all this becomes so excruciatingly painful that they remove all of their emotions until they are left as nothing but blank-faced cyborgs with no feelings at all. All that drives them is an insatiable drive to make all other life forms exactly like them, believing that they'll be freeing them of any pain or suffering. But putting that very long-winded explanation of what they are to one side for a minute, the Cybermen have had a lot of different designs or upgrades throughout the years, but I personally believe that the scariest, and therefore most effective when it comes to talking about their scare factor, is actually the first few Cybermen, specifically the Mondasian and Telosian Cybermen, which were seen in the 10th Planet and the Moonbase and Tomb of the Cybermen respectively. And here's some reasons for why I think that. 1. They were in black and white. This reason may sound a little basic, but it's still a very good one. After all, think about it. Why is it that films and TV shows in general seem to be a little scarier and more terrifying when they're in black and white? I think it's because of just how unsettling things in black and white can look, and this is especially the case with the original Cybermen. That scene at the end of episode 1 of the 10th Planet where we see the Cybermen for the first time is genuinely terrifying to watch. Their faces are just so blank and featureless, and yet there's something really eerie about how you can tell that there's still something of a normal face within that. We can still see the shape of a nose, and the eyes and mouth still look somewhat normal, at least when compared to some of the more recent Cyberman designs. They even still open their mouths as normal, albeit keeping them open very wide whilst they speak.
Care? No, why should I care?
Also, black and white often evokes certain vibes, that being shadowy goings on, at least in my personal opinion. These Cybermen also seem to look gigantic thanks to some great camera angles. 2. The stories themselves. Another thing that helps to make the first two Cyberman designs scariest is the stories they appear in themselves. The 10th Planet, the Moonbase and the Tomb of the Cybermen all have this very atmospheric feel to them, and it helps a lot with them all just being 4 parts in length. They don't try to build up too much atmosphere only for it to fizzle out before the story is done. They instead take this slightly more cautious approach, but not too cautious that it all gets lost and becomes meaningless. They each have this sense of mystery about what exactly is going on, and who could be behind it for the first episode or two. And then once we see that it's the Cybermen who are behind it, there is this uneasiness and fear that the rest of the cast all demonstrate towards the Cybermen. One very good example of this would be how the second Doctor interacts with the Cyber Controller in Tomb of the Cybermen. He looks quite frightened to some extent, something that isn't very normal for a Doctor. And who can blame him, given just how tall and intimidating the Controller is. Yes, a lot of Doctor Who stories do tend to have a sense of mystery in them, but the way these particular stories do it is unrivalled and arguably second to none. 3. They represent the idea behind the Cybermen so well. In many ways, these early Cybermen are the most unsettling because of how they still feel somewhat human. As I touched upon earlier, the Mondasian Cybermen still have a recognisably human enough face, and they even still have normal, uncovered human hands. The Telosian Cybermen are more robotic, but this isn't actually a step down or veering too far away from the original idea, or the previous design. Their faces are now even more blank and featureless, especially the eyes and mouth, which have gotten bigger and even more terrifying. It's clear to see that they've upgraded themselves so as to remove all remaining human elements that the previous design had. They've well and truly lost their humanity, and don't seem to have any interest in getting it back. But what does make both these designs still somewhat human is the fact that they're both clearly very primitive. These are still very much early Cybermen, still trying to advance further and further with more and more technology. The later Cybermen have more or less already advanced far enough to feel almost completely detached from their more human roots, but these first two cyber designs show us Cybermen who are still starting out, still not too far removed from their humanoid origins, and that is what makes them truly terrifying.
You belong to us. You shall be like us.
Anyway, so thanks for watching, hope you liked it. Please don't forget to press that subscribe button below, as well as press the bell icon at the side of it, so that you'll be notified of when all my new videos come out. This channel currently has 621 subscribers as of time of writing and recording this video, but once we get 750, then I will rank every single season, from William Hartnell to Jodie Whittaker. Also, please rate and comment below which Doctor Who monster you think is the scariest, and if you agree with my reasoning for why I think the original Cybermen are the scariest. And I shall see you all in another video. So, until next time, bye bye, and happy Halloween!